Welcome to the first ever chapter read-along video of my personal Dragon Quest inspired story, Dragon Quest Phoenix. In this first chapter, you will be following Martin, the main character of the story, Marchins, his father, and Yellow, their loyal silver saber cat. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let's get right into it. Act 1, The Birth of the Phoenix. Chapter 1, Tectonic Trouble. Our story begins with Martin, a young man from a village called Frioville, which was located deep in the east mountains of Friotania, a snowy mountain region with few inhabitants. Martin's father, finishes getting ready and stands in the middle of his home looking towards Martin's room with a frustrated look on his face. He then sighs and takes a deep breath, yelling, "Martin, are you ready yet?" Martin quickly responds while rushing to finish putting his backpack on. "Yes, Pa! I just have to grab my sword." Martin's response, "Fine. Well, I'll be waiting for you outside." Martin freaks out and grabs his sword and rushes to open his door and head outside. As he runs outside, he sees that his father, Martins, and Yellow, their loyal silver saber cat, are waiting for him with smiles on their faces. Martins yells, "Finally! I thought I was going to have to go on my own." He then laughs out loud, and Martin replies, "I'm here, so don't you worry about it anymore." He looks over at Yellow and says, "Hey, Yellow, ready to go on an adventure?" Yellow growls a happy growl and smiles a big smile. Martins goes to lock the door of their home and turns a sign around on the door from saying open to close, and they all start walking away from their home and towards the forest. Martins is the owner of the village's item shop, and they had to travel outside the village to restock some of their shop's popular items because they were sold out. As they were all walking, Martin yells, "I'll beat you to the cave, Yellow." Yellow growls in contempt and chases after Martin as Martins laughs, watching them run. As Martin gets further away from Martin's sight, all of a sudden a group of slimes jump out and surprise young Martin wanting to fight. Martin yells, "Ha ha, yeah! Bring it on, slimes!" Yellow roared, and both Yellow and Martin were ready to battle. Martins noticed this as well and was surprised to see the slimes because it wasn't common for monsters to be so close to the village. He yells at Yellow saying, "Yellow! Let Martin handle this one on his own. He's got this." Martin looks back at his father and smiles a big smile. Martin and the slimes jump at each other, and Martin swings his sword but misses, and all three of the slimes smack Martin in the face, making him fall on his back. Martins smacks his own face in disappointment and says, "Come on, man, what the heck was that?" Yellow was snickering, and Martin jumps up and turns over at his father and Yellow and yells, while blushing, "I got a little too excited, okay? It's been a couple days since I last fought a monster. I'll take them out this time. Just watch." Martins and Yellow look at each other, making fun of Martin, and Martin said under his breath, "He said slime instead of time. Does he think he's a slime or something?" Martin gets back up with an annoyed expression and takes a deep breath and stares down the slimes as he holds his sword firmly. All three slimes jump at him again, but this time Martin watches them as they get closer to him. He quickly slashes the one in the middle in half and rolls under the other two. The slime he cut in half dies, and the other two slimes and Martin stare at each other once again. One of the slimes swallows a big gulp, turns around and runs away, while the other one gets a serious look on his face and launches himself at Martin. Martin then quickly jabs his sword straight through the slime's mouth, kills it, and says, "Ha! You won't get away from me, you dumb slime," talking to the one that was running away. Martin starts chasing after it, but his father stops him and says, "Just let him go. You can take him out another day. You got enough experience from the two you managed to actually kill." Martin groans with discontent. Martins then rubs his son's head and says, "Not bad for a gooman." Martin slaps his father's hand away, annoyed, and they start walking towards their destination. Martins then starts running and says, "Come on, we need to hurry and get to the cave. We're burning daylight." Martin replies, Okay, geez." They get back on track, and Martin says, "By the way, how the heck did we sell out of medicinal herbs so quickly? We usually don't have to restock for like a month. It's only been like 2 weeks or so." Martins gets serious, stops running, and responds, "It's definitely a little strange, but I'm assuming it's got something to do with how much more active monsters have been recently. I mean, these slimes that attacked you were super close to the village. Monsters aren't usually this close to home." Martin responds, "Gotcha. I just thought that maybe our shop was getting more popular or something, but you're right. I have noticed a lot more people talking about monster attacks lately around the village. Does that mean that the monsters are getting stronger, Pa?" Martins responds, "I don't know if they're getting stronger or there are more of them appearing, but it's definitely a little troubling." Martins then looks over at his son and puts his hand over his shoulder and says, "But don't you worry. As long as I'm around, there's no way any monster will ever hurt us." As he laughs out loud, Martin smiles and responds, "Yeah, I know. But now that I let that slime escape, all the monsters are going to know not to mess with me either." Martins and Martin laugh, and Yellow just sighs with an annoyed look on his face. They continue walking, and Martin says, "You've definitely gotten stronger, hijo mío. But you need to learn to be more aware and be more patient. Monsters will usually always be stronger than us. The best way to overpower them is through a calm mind and a quick and deadly movement." Martin sighs and replies, I know. They finally reached their destination, and Martin said, "We finally made it to Cueva Fria." He then looks over at Yellow and says, "All right, amigo, do your thing." Yellow nods and walks up to the mouth of the cave. He looks back at Martins and Martin, and they both cover their ears. Yellow turns toward the cave, inhales, and lets out an ear-splitting roar. Once he finished roaring, Martins yells, "Go!" Both Martins and Martin unsheath their weapons and, together with Yellow, run inside of the cave. Once inside, they were able to see several monsters around the cave, and because of Yellow's roar, they were all paralyzed in place. Martins then says, "Wow, Yellow, you were able to stun all of them this time." Martin then yells while running towards some monsters, "I'm going to kill more monsters than you guys this time." Martins laughs and responds, "You're on." The party rushes to slice up and destroy the groups of monsters in the cave with ease. Martin was able to slice up a couple monsters, but once he got to a Draki laying on the ground and went to stab it, it quickly dodged and prepared to attack Martin. Martin then says, "Oh, you still have some fight left in you, huh? Bring it on!" They stared each other down and launched at each other, and just before Martin could attack the Draki, it split in half and died. Martin saw his father running away while yelling, "Too slow!" Martin responded, "Hey, no fair!" They continued taking out monsters and eventually, after coming together, count how many they each killed. Martin said while breathing heavily, "Okay, I got 7. Martins laughs and says, "That's it? That means I won." Yellow got 11 and I got 12. Yellow sighs and Martin growls and replies, annoyed, "Next time I won't let you steal my kills." Martins replied, "I thought that Draki was going to hurt you. I was only trying to save you," he said while laughing. Martin replied, "Whatever. You know I had that. Don't even lie." Martins put his hand on his son's shoulder and said, "Mijo, you did awesome. 7 is still an improvement. Do you remember what you got last time?" Martin then thought about it and said, "Oh yeah, I got 5," while smiling. Martins replied, "See, you're getting stronger, faster, and more accurate with your attacks. Always be proud of your improvements, because I sure am proud of them." Martin gets a little embarrassed and says, "Thanks, Ba." Yellow growled and turns around to start picking up medicinal herbs, and Martins then says, "Well, we better get to work." They start picking away at the medicinal herbs that grow around the cave, and after a little while, Martin stops and starts thinking to himself, I know Pa already said it was because of the increase in monster activity, but it's still crazy how fast we've had to come restock our items. I wonder if our village is the only village experiencing an increase in monster attacks. Are we the only ones having this issue? Eventually, after a bit, Martin sighs out loud, and Yellow and Machins notice it. Machins then asks, What's up, mijo? What's on your mind? Martin doesn't look over at his father at all while he responds with a very short answer saying, Nothing. Martin then gets back to work and stays quiet. Martins frowns and stares at his son while thinking to himself, I know, Martin. I know what you're thinking. He silently continues staring at his son work and continues thinking, I know that you want to leave this town and go on an adventure. I know you want to join a guild and help people around the world, but Martin clenches his fist and closes his eyes while thinking, I couldn't bear something happening to you, too. Just like your shake. All of a sudden, the whole cave started shaking violently. Martins yells, Earthquake! Alright everyone, that's it for today's episode of Dragon Quest Phoenix. If you would like to read the script or chapter on your own, head on over to my Patreon. You can read it for free. If you enjoyed this video and the story, I would sincerely appreciate you liking this video and subscribing for more. I will be releasing a new chapter at least once a month, depending on how well received the story is. Also, if you would like to support me a little bit more with this project, head on over to my Patreon and sign up for one of my membership tiers. If I can get enough funding, eventually I want to hire an artist to be able to draw my story out for everyone, and I also have awesome ideas for creating a card game and other projects from my story. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Tune in next time for an exciting new episode of Dragon Quest Phoenix.